All right, good evening. We're back in our study of the 50 Shades of They. And this is our second study. This is Shade 2. We're going to be talking about relational nouns tonight. Relational nouns. If you remember last week when we started, we talked about a few specific things that I want to briefly go over real quick. The first one is that God has never been alone, and neither have you. You've never been alone. You might have felt alone, but you've never been alone. God's always been there for you. Second thing I want you to remember is that God is especially fond of you. There's nobody that He likes any better than you. He doesn't like me better. He doesn't like Billy Graham better. He doesn't like anybody He doesn't like President Trump better. He likes everybody the same. He's especially fond of you. You were fearfully and wonderfully made according to the Bible. And you are an individual. And because of DNA, we now know that to be true. The only people that have identical DNA are twins. And so you are special. There's no one else like you. There will never be anyone else like you. So God is especially fond of you. Now, so Shade 2, relational noun, you might ask, because we talked about this last week. Remember we told the story about Larry? You remember Larry? And so, and he said that the wheels fell off the cart and everything come undone. When? When did it happen? Or why did it happen? Because he had these friends. You remember that? Because he had these friends. So you might ask me the question tonight, Rick, does it really matter who I hang out with? And the answer to that, or Rick, does it really matter where I go? And the answer is absolutely yes. It matters. It matters who you hang out with, and it matters where you go. I would bet with you guys that are here in the program, I would bet that where you live or where you stayed last, that within a couple of 3 or 4 blocks, you know some place to go where you could get what you want. You've got a spot. I would bet you probably know that. And that is a place that you don't need to go. That is a place you need to steer clear of. That's a place you need to never pass again. You need to have a different route to go over how you go. If you go back to the same area that you lived in, and listen, a lot of people will say, well, I'm going to move because of all of my friends. I've got the wrong kind of friends. I'm going to move. Here's something that you got to remember. No matter where you go, there you are. Wherever you go, you're going to carry you with you. And you, believe it or not, you are the problem. So what you've got to do is fix you. So if you can fix you, then you can live anywhere, and it doesn't matter what's going on around you. You'll be able to get by. So you've got to stay away from those places. So if you're going to go to Walmart and you had to drive past that place, don't go to Walmart that way anymore. Go 5 or 6 blocks out of the way. Don't pass that place. It really matters where you go. And then it really matters who you hang out with. All of your old cronies that you've hung out with before are not the right people to hang out with, and they're going to lead you back down the same path to the same place that you've been before. So the answer is yes. It really does matter who you hang out with, and it really does matter where you go. It's all about relational nouns, and the nouns are people, places, and things. People, places, and things. Why, Pastor Rick? Well, I'm glad you asked that question. Because if we hang around the wrong they, you remember? Yeah. We'll end up going to the wrong places, and we'll wind up doing the wrong things. If we hang around the wrong they, we'll end up going to the wrong places, and we'll wind up doing the wrong thing. Remember, if you hang around the wrong they will keep you out on the edge of the fray, and you will become prey. Okay. The wrong they will keep you out on the edge of the fray, and you will become prey. It's not a might, not a maybe. You will if you're hanging around the wrong they. So maybe you're not hanging with the people who might cause you to commit murder. That's what Larry did. He committed murder because he was hanging around the wrong people. And maybe you're not hanging around with people that will get you into doing porn. But could it be Your past reflects the story of the biblical character Samson. We're going to talk about Samson a little bit now. Samson's life, if you looked at his life and it was in notes, it would be tragic. The life of Samson would be absolutely tragic. How tragic, do you ask? He went from having everything, Samson, he went from having everything going for him. He had incredible strength. He had incredible purpose from God. He was blessed by God. And he went from all of that to shacked up with a high-class call girl. That's what happened to Samson. So, hanging around the wrong way will destroy your life. His father warned him. His father told him, he said, don't go down there with those Philistines. Because he'd go down to the Philistines because he could whoop all of them. You know, he'd kill them right and left. They were scared of him. He was so strong. And he would go down there, and his father told him, don't go down there. Find you a woman among our people. Don't be going down to the Philistines. But he kept on going down there to the Philistines. The high-class golf girl betrayed him with a haircut at Satan's salon. That's what she done. With the loss of his hair, he lost his strength. He was seized. His eyes were gouged out, and he was put in prison. They gouged his eyes out. He didn't have any eyes the rest of his life. Cost a big price, didn't it? Yes. And he was one of the final judges of Israel. He was a judge. Samson was a judge. He had extreme power. He had extreme prestige. He had it all going for him. And because he hung around the wrong people and did the wrong things, he ended up losing it all. So, I like to call this, and it's from Brother Ed's book, I like to call this the road to temptation. You see, the city that Samson went down to in the Bible was called Timnah. So we just added temptation and that together. Temptation. The road to temptation. The road to temptation is what's going to destroy most of us. Where did his life go wrong? Where did the wheels come off? Judges 14:1 says this. Samson went down to Timnah. That's where everything went wrong, where he made the decision to go down to Timnah. I don't know if y'all can see that, but it's also on the TV back there in the back, if you want to get notes off of that. It was a place that Samson knew that he shouldn't go. Samson knew he shouldn't go there. It was a place that was built on sex and seduction, and that was the worst place for a he-man with a she weakness to go. This ought to be ringing true with some of you. Yes. It was the worst place for a he-man with a she weakness to go. He hooked up with the wrong people, the Philistines. These people did not believe in God at all. They did not honor God. They did not have Samson's best interest in mind. And the dominoes of compromise began to fall when he went down there. Compromise will always bring about a fall eventually. Compromise. You cannot compromise your core beliefs. If you do, you'll always fall. You'll fall. The compromisation will cause you to fall. With each one falling, he went further and further away from God's purpose for his life. Every time he went back down to Timnah, he was going further and further away for God's purpose for his life. I'm sure he thought this, and you probably thought this same thing before. Just one more time I'll go down there. Just this one more time, and then I won't do it anymore. And 50 years later, you're still going down there. Just this once always leads to just another once. Just this once always leads to another just this once. So often you choose to experience freedom, your choice to experience freedom ends up enslaving you. Sin enslaves us. Sin keeps us from being what we can be and accomplishing what we could accomplish. It absolutely enslaves us. That's what happened to Samson. How different his story would have been if he had not went down to Timnah just that once. He'd have never went. He never made the trip. What if he had surrounded himself with the right they instead of the wrong they? You see, the wrong they will take you to the wrong places and get you to doing the wrong thing. The right they will take you to the right places and keep you focused on the right thing. The right they will lift you up. The right they will promote you and help you to do better. The wrong they will always be tearing you down. They'll always be carrying you where you don't need to go and getting you to do things that you don't need to be doing. Are the they in your life leading you down the path of just this once? Down the path to temptation? Maybe your path reflects Samson's story. I don't know. Your past may reflect Samson, but your future doesn't have to. You don't have to end up with your eyes gouged out. You don't have to end up being imprisoned. You don't have to end up being enslaved to sin all of your life. You don't have to end up that way. You may be like Samson right now, or you may have been like Samson in your past, but you don't have to be that way anymore. Link up with the right they, and then you'll never be the same. The right they are always going to carry you to the right places, and they're always going to have you doing the right thing. Always. The right they will protect your purpose. Every one of y'all have a purpose. And some of you may not know what your purpose is. But God created you for a purpose. He has a purpose for you. And so the right they will protect that purpose, and they'll encourage that purpose, and they'll help you to live out your purpose. When you have the right they, you'll wind up going to the right places. You'll end up doing the things that help you reach your full potential. You remember some of this from Sunday's message? Our potential, we don't reach it sometimes because we're focused on all the wrong things. We have to have the right they in our life to keep us pushing forward toward our potential. So that's the end of lesson 1. We're going to go to lesson 2. Lesson 1 was shade 1 and shade 2. Just hang with me and I'll bring up the other.
It makes sense, man. Like, I tell myself, I do a long time. Do a long time. And all of a sudden, man. And then the farther you went to sin, you get away from God. He always make a move and get you out. And she said, keep going back to the
Okay, here we are back. I used to have dark hair. What do y'all think about that? See me on the screen there. Again, God has never been alone, neither have you. There's a difference between solitude and loneliness. Remember that last week? Yeah. Solitude's okay. What's solitude about? Solitude is a time that you can spend with God and get closer to Him and spend time alone with Him. But loneliness is something that you don't want in your life. If you feel lonely, get up and go get around somebody. Go talk to somebody. Don't be alone. The devil wants you alone. That's his modus operandi. He wants to take you and get you alone, and he wants to convince you that you're not worthy. He wants to convince you that you're not good enough. He wants to convince you that you don't have a future. He wants to convince you that you're not liked or you're not loved. He wants to convince you that you're never going to do any improvement in your life. And if he can convince you of all of that and have you lonely at the same time, he'll eventually get you to take your own life. So don't be alone. Solitude is good. Loneliness is not. Remember, the Lord is especially fond of you. The company you keep matters. And remember, they had these friends. That's where the wheel come off. Remember last week I had you to make it. Did y'all make your friend inventory? I bet you didn't do it. Did y'all make you a sheet of paper and put your friend inventory on it? You don't have to answer me. I know you didn't. You need to do that. You need to get you some paper. You need to put your friends down the middle. Hector's got his down the middle there. Friends and family, so that you can check off each time we do one of these things. If they fail the test, you put a check on the left. If they pass the test, you put a check on the right. And at the end, you can tell who the wrong they are. Remember what a friend is? A friend is a foundational or forceful relationship in everybody's natural domain. It's the acrostic for a friend. Foundational or forceful relationship in everyone's natural domain. That's what a friend is. So if it's a bad friend, the wrong they, they're going to be foundational and forceful in the relationship, taking you to the wrong places and getting you to do the wrong things. If it's the right they, the friend is going to keep you focused on the right things and going to the right places and doing the right things. And then we talked about the road to temptation just now. So shade 3 is tough. Shade 3 is tough. Tough. That's the name of the shade. In Samson's life, we see the wrong they reflected in who he hung out with, where he went, and what he ended up doing. The right they, they're just opposite. When you find them, you'll end up in the right places, inspiring others to do right things. But the question tonight for you and me is, who are they? Who are the right they? Who are they? So that's what we're going to study from the word tough. Here it's going to be an acrostic. See this here? The they and tough. They're tough. The first one we're going to look at is they're tough. Navy SEAL, his name was Market Luttrell. He's the author of Lone Survivor. And the book tells of his story of putting his life on the line, not only for his country, but on the line for the men that he fought beside. This is the Navy code. This is what every Navy SEAL commits to. I will never quit. I preserve and thrive on adversity. My nation expects me to be physically harder and mentally stronger than my enemies. If knocked down, I will get back up every time. I will draw on every remaining ounce of strength to protect my teammates and to accomplish our mission. I am never out of the game. Never. The right they are never out of the fight. They're always right in the middle of the fight. In life, there ought to be lots of times when you're in the fight on your knees. You understand what I'm saying? When you get on your knees and you pray, that's when you do your best fighting against the enemy and against the things that are in your life that you don't want in your life. The right they will stand with us, they'll fight with us, they'll strengthen us, and they'll emerge with us on the other side. We'll win. No man is an island to himself. You know, as people get to thinking that's part of the devil's solution for you, is to get you thinking that you're alone and that nothing you do affects anybody else. But the truth is, everything you do affects a lot of people. Everything you do, right or wrong, affects a lot of people. It causes family to worry. It causes family grief. It causes family heartache that you don't even know about. So we're not an island to ourselves. So when we do things that are wrong, it affects lots of people. And then just as good, when we do things that are good, it affects all those same people again. There's a book that was written in a movie that came out several years ago called The Butterfly Effect. Did any of y'all see that? And what that basically said in the book, that if a butterfly flaps its wings in Japan, it could cause high waves on the ocean here in America. There's nothing in life that happens that's all by itself. It all functions out from there. It's just like throwing a rock into a pond, and you drop it, and then you see out from that wave after wave after wave after wave as it works all the way to the shore. It won't stop until it gets to the shore. Just a simple rock dropping in a pond. So your life is like that. Whatever you do, you're dropping that in the pond of life, and it's rippling out through all of the people you know and all the people you come in contact with. You're affecting everybody, not just yourself. So the right they will strengthen you time and time again, and you don't ever want to throw in the towel and quit. That's the difference, incidentally, between a winner and a loser, is a loser quits and a winner never does. doesn't mean that a winner wins. It means they never quit. There's a couple of words that I want you to get out of your vocabulary. A lot of people will say this. Well, Brother Rick, I'm going to try to do that. Get rid of that word try. Try is nothing but an excuse not to do what you just committed to. You understand what I'm saying? If I go out visiting and knocking on doors, inviting people to church, if they say, well, I will try to be there, I know immediately that they are not going to be here. You know how I know that? Because they have given themselves a way out with the word try. Try is simply a word that says, I'm probably not going to do that. That's what it is. I told the man I'd try, and I did try. I got up, but I was tired, and I didn't go to church. It gives you a way out. That's what the word try is. So don't get rid of the word try in your vocabulary. Make up your mind that you're going to do something. And when you make up your mind to do it, do it. Don't worry about trying. Just do it. That's what that big check on your sneakers means. That
Just
check,
do it. Not get
just do it. That's what it means. Quit trying. Just do it. Make up your mind to do it. The right day will strengthen you time and time again. Don't ever throw in the towel. This is what we prayed for. This is what God called us to do. We must stay and fight. What I'm talking about is this what we're doing right here. This church and this rehab. God called us to do this. There's lots of things I could be doing. I don't have to be here. And you know, I have a retirement. I don't have to be here. I don't get paid for being here. I don't get a salary for being here or from the program or from the church. Nothing. So I don't have to be here, but I feel like this is what God has called us to do. And many times the devil will try to discourage us and want us to quit. But what we have to do is say, no, we're moving forward. We're going to keep going. We're going to continue on until we accomplish whatever it is that God wants us to accomplish here. We're going to continue to do that. Even though I've wanted to give up, I needed someone tough enough to remind me that the fight we're in is worth the effort. Every time I look at the successful graduates that we've had here that have their own businesses, that are doing great today, that are remarried to their original wife, that have their kids at home, that are doing all those things that are very positive, then I realize that I'm doing something worthwhile and I need to continue on. I'm encouraged by that. Fritzy and others have been tough voices when I needed tough voices. We have a standing joke at our house. There's times, me and her both get down at times. You know, I've struggled with depression all of my life. So we get down at times, and so I'll say, this is what I'll say when I'm really at my wit's end. I'll say, why don't we move to Montana? Now, why did I pick Montana? Because there's nothing there. And I get tired of fiddling with people. People get upset. They get mad at me. They don't want the help that I'm trying to give them. They got excuses. They think I'm a bad person. I get tired of all that. And I'll say, let's just move to Montana. And Fritz will say, well, no, we can't do that. We've got responsibilities. We've got to keep going. And in a month or so, I'll rock by, and she'll look at me and she'll say, let's move to Montana. She's at that same point. And I'll say, well, honey, you know, we can't. You know, we balance each other out, and we keep pushing forward. That's what we have to do, and that's the right day. You need the right day in your life, whether it's a spouse or a friend, somebody to keep pushing you forward and to tell you that you're doing the right thing and you need to move forward. The tough voices that strengthen me in those moments of doubt and help me stay in the fight, they're the right day. Fritzy and our boys not only strengthen me, but they stand with me and fight. Because of that, we emerge from fight after fight toward the purpose God has for us for our lives. Sunday, you can't believe how depressed I was Sunday. I mean, none of my church members was here except Brother Ben. That's it. You think that's not depressing to a pastor that pours his life into preparing a message for somebody and there's nobody here to hear the message? I mean, y'all are a captive audience. I can't take credit for y'all. You know, so that's really, really tough to get through. But we stay focused on God's purpose and we keep moving forward, knowing that eventually God is going to make everything work out right. That's what the Romans 8:28 says. We know that all things work together for good to them that love the Lord and are called according to his purposes. Now, it does not say all things are good. Did you notice that? It says all things work together for good. That includes your stupid mistakes. God uses everything in your life for your good. He brings about good out of it. All things work. If you love Jesus and you're trying to live for him, he'll take everything that's in your life and he'll make good out of it. He'll make good out of it. All things work together for good. The right day does for you. That's what the right day does for you. They are tough. They'll be there. The second thing on they, T-H-E-Y, is not tough. This is shade 4. Honest. Shade 4 is honest. They're honest. The right they are not only tough, they're honest. Listen, I'll tell you something right now. If you don't want to know the answer to it, don't ask Miss Fritchie a question. Because Miss Fritchie is going to be honest with you and she is going to answer your question honestly. So you be careful, because you'll get the answer, and it might not be the answer you want. She's going to be honest with you. It's important that we have people that's honest with us. We don't need somebody to puff us up and say, "Oh, you're doing fine," when we know something's the matter. We need to be honest with people. So, colloquialism. You know what a colloquialism is? That's that saying right there. To be honest with you, you ever hear somebody say that? Well, to be honest with you,
okay,
you know what that means when somebody says that? That means up until that point they've been lying to you. When they say that colloquialism, to be honest with you, that means up till this point I haven't been honest with you, but right now I'm fixed to be honest with you. They are the wrong they. Those people will exaggerate. They'll tell you that you look real nice when you probably need to go back and brush teeth. They'll one-up your story. Montgomerys are famous for one-upping the story. You know, if you're at a family reunion with me, the first person that tells something hadn't got a chance, because the next one's going to be a much bigger story than the one you just told. For instance, let's say we meet at a family reunion, and I say, well, I went fishing yesterday and I caught a brim, and that brim weighed about 3.5 pounds, real pretty brim. Well, somebody else is going to speak up and say, 3.5 pounds? You don't know nothing. I caught one the other day that weighed 5 pounds. So the wrong they will always try to one-up you. They'll try to be one better than you. You'll tell a story, and then, we spent an hour and a half yesterday, maybe more than that, listening to that youngster tell about all of his wonderful things that happened to him, up including his almost death to drugs, and just sort of bragging about his life. I just wanted to reach around and slap him right between the eyes. You know, all that stuff is stuff that we don't need to be bragging on. We don't need to be talking about it. You need to let it go. If you got that stuff in your life, let it go. That's yesterday. You remember that song? Well, that was yesterday, and yesterday's gone. Forget it. It's gone. If you keep on dragging the past into the present, you will always have the past with you. Just keep on dragging it in. I told you a while ago, no matter where you go, there you are. You're taking you with you, so you're the one that has to make the decisions. You have to make those decisions. But when you drag the past with you, it's like pulling around a dead horse. Y'all ever heard somebody say that's like pulling a dead horse? Yeah. A dead horse weighs a lot, and it's hard to move around. And your past makes your whole life hard to move around if you keep on bringing it into the present. So, get this. You may want to write this down. This is not my saying. This is from Dr. Pilla. Dr. Pilla said this. You'll never have a hope of a better tomorrow until you give up all hope of a better past. It's actually present. You'll never have a better hope of a better present until you give up all hope of a better past. As long as you keep bringing the past into the present, it's the present's going to be like the past. You understand that? You understand what I'm saying? You have to give up all hope of a better past. You cannot change your past. Your past is that. It's the past. So there's no need of dwelling on it. There's no need of being sad about it. There's no need of being disgusted with it. There's no need of thinking on it all the time and saying, because you're just bringing it into the present, you just need to let it go. It's gone. And live in the present. And incidentally, that's why it's called the present. When you at Christmas time, what do you get somebody? You get them a present. That's what God's given you today. He's given you a present. That's your present. Today is your present. And as long as you keep bringing the past into the present, you never have a present. You'll never have a hope of a better present until you give up all hope of a better past. Let the past go. Let it go. Maybe you're talking to somebody at work and they say, they're married to somebody, and they say, don't tell my spouse, but. That's the wrong way. You don't want to be around those people. If they don't want their spouse to know something, that means they're doing something wrong, and they're telling you about it and they're bragging about it. That's the wrong way. You don't need to be hanging around those people. Or a co-worker whispers this to you. Let's just keep this between us so the boss doesn't find out. That's the wrong way. The boss needs to find out. If the boss knows what's going on, he can keep the company functioning and going forward so that you can have a paycheck every week. When the company starts breaking down because people's talking about the company inside, listen, if you're working for a company and you don't like what's going on, quit. Mm-hmm. Quit. Go get another job. Don't sit around and complain and cause people that's there trying to make a living to get down and out in their situation because of what you're saying. If you don't like where you're working, quit. No one's forcing you to be there. Quit. You live in a free country. You can quit. Go get another job. Go find a job you like. If you don't like that job, quit it. What you're going to find is you're going to have to get to where you don't sit around and complain about everything. I could complain. Oh my gosh. There's so much I could complain about. There's no need to complain. We just need to move forward. Whether it's bold lies, exaggerations, little white lies, half-truths, cover-ups, or deception, they all lead down the road to temptation. You need to be surrounded by people you can trust. I mean, truly trust. And you can't trust someone who's not always honest. I was teaching Sunday school class one Sunday. We had about 45, 50 people here for Sunday school that morning. A lady was sitting on the front row that was a member of our church, and I was talking about gossips. Gossips are so destructive. It's always negative. A gossip never shares nothing positive. Y'all realize that, right? A gossip is always talking about somebody's faults or somebody that didn't meet up to their expectations. And so I said, gossips are just like a cancer. It'll get in the church and it'll destroy a church because people it goes from this one to that one. I don't know if you've ever played that game where you go over here and tell Jeremy here, tell him, I whisper in his ear something. I tell him to tell what I just told him to Hector, and then Hector tells it to Brian, and Brian tells it to Mr. Ben, and Mr. Ben tells it to yeah, and all around. And then I have him to repeat it. When he repeats it, it doesn't sound anything like what I told him. That's what a gossip does. A gossip, it just builds and it changes and it just keeps going. It'll destroy. And she couldn't help herself. She said, this woman, she said, how do you not do it? What was she saying? She was saying that's something I do all the time. How do you not do it? How do you keep from gossiping? That's what she was asking. How do you keep from it? If you have someone in your family or your friends, they come up to you and they say, every time you talk to them, they say, you can't believe what my brother did. Or you talk to them and they'll say, you can't believe what my daughter did. Or you'll talk to them and they'll say, you can't believe what my boss said. Or they'll say, or you can't believe what my aunt said. They'll go through all the. You'll never hear them saying anything good about anybody. They'll always be the one that's in the right, and everybody else will always be wrong. Let me tell you something. When they're talking to you about somebody else, when they're not with you, guess who they're talking about?
You.
They're talking about you. They're the wrong they. Steer clear of those people. They'll destroy your lives. Trust. You got to trust somebody. They got to be honest. The right they tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Colossians 3:9-13. Here's what it says. Do not lie to each other, since you have taken off your old self with its practices and have put on a new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. I think that's pretty clear, isn't it? Do not lie to each other. Since you've taken off your old self with its practices and have put on a new self, which is being renewed in knowledge in the image of its creator. Every day we're supposed to get a little bit more like our creator. And we do that by remaining honest with each other. Shade 5, the E on they is encouraging. The right they are encouraging. The right they are tough. The right they are honest, and the right they are encouraging. They'll encourage you. Life is too short to be surrounded by doggy downers. Life is too precious to be surrounded by people who drench your dreams with cold water and muddle your mind with doubt. You go to somebody and you say, well, I'm thinking about doing this, and you've really thought on it and prayed on it, and you're really sort of excited about it, and you're wanting to get their feedback, and the first thing they say, well, you can't do that, you're not smart enough to do that. That's a doggy downer. All they want you to do is doubt yourself. God doesn't want you to doubt yourself. God wants you to pray to Him, to seek His face, and to find out what He wants you to do, and then He wants you to throw doubt out the window and work on it. You need to be around people that you're celebrated, not tolerated. Don't be around people that tolerate you. Be around people that celebrate you. They're not tolerating you, they're celebrating you. I don't want to be around people that tolerate me. I want to be around somebody that is happy to be around me, that's excited to be around me, that wants to be around me. Life is challenging enough as it is without having to be discouraged by those that are closest to you. The right they are encouraging. They're encouraging. So you're either in a relationship or a relationship. A relationship or a relationship. There's a great story in the Bible about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were friends. They were Jews. You know the story. They understood fear. They understood doubt. They thought of bailing. Don't you think they thought of bailing? When they were standing up there and Nebuchadnezzar had the music played and they didn't bow down, and he stopped and he looked at them, and he liked these guys. You know, that's the reason they were on the dais with him. He liked these guys. He looked at them, he said, y'all must have misunderstood. I said, when you hear the sound of music, any kind of instrument playing, what you guys need to do is bow down and to worship this golden statue of me out here. It was a 90-foot statue of Nebuchadnezzar. And he says, just worship that statue of me, and everything will be just fine. And they spoke up and said, we will not worship that statue. That's an image, and our God does not let us worship an image. He got mad, and he says, well, we're going to play the music one more time. And if you don't bow down, we're going to throw you in this furnace over here where we
Right.
fire bricks, and we're going to burn you up. And they said, you may, but our God is able to deliver us if he wants to, but we're not going to bow down. And he had the music played, and they didn't bow, and he had a bunch of men grab them up and tie them up in ropes. And I don't know if y'all know what a kiln is. A kiln is where they fire bricks or fire any kind of ceramics, and they always made fun of this story in the Bible because they said there were no kilns big enough to throw a human into. Well, lo and behold, you know what they found in the desert in Iraq? Huge kilns from 3,500 years ago, big enough that you could drive a 2.5-ton truck into. Huge kilns. They fired thousands and thousands of bricks at once. And so they had a hole in the top of that, and he had them to bind them up with ropes and to take them out and to throw them in that hole. He had the fire heated up 7 times hotter than it had ever been heated up. He was so mad. He was, you could see the veins just protruding on old Nebuchadnezzar's neck here. He's so mad, and he has them thrown in, and the people that threw them in, the fire was so hot it killed them. And then in a few minutes, he looked around at one of his advisors, and he said, did we not throw 3 men bound into that fire? And the advisor said, yeah. He said, well, lo, I see 4 men, and the 4th one looks like the Son of God. Jesus was in the fire with them. And so sometimes you may have to go through the fire, folks, but Jesus is always there with you, and don't let doggy downers get you down. You need people to encourage you. How do you feel after you spend time with somebody? That's how you figure out whether they're a doggy downer. If you lead them and you're encouraged, you're around the right day. If you lead them and you feel like, man, I wished I hadn't went by and seen them, then that's the wrong day. You don't need to be around them. If you feel depleted or negative, you're around the wrong day. If you do feel depleted or rejected, you're in a relationship. You know what a relationship is? You know what a leech is, don't you?
Yeah.
They just suck the blood right out of you. That's what a relationship is. They just leech right off of you. A relationship is a relationship that sucks the life out of you and replaces your dreams with doubts and your enthusiasm with skepticism. That's what a relationship is. The right they know it takes what it takes to burn off the leeches. Encouragement. Get rid of the relationships in your life. Stick with those who energize you, those who give you fuel to live life, those who love you for who you are and help you move forward in life. And no relationships. You're just looking for relationships. Hebrews 10:24. Let us consider how we may spur one another toward love and good deeds. That's what we're supposed to do. Let us consider how we may spur one another on toward love and good deeds. Relationships, not relationships. And the final shade we'll look at tonight is shade 6. It's the Y on the they. Not only are they tough, not only is the right they honest, not only is the right they encouraging, the right they are yielded. You know what a yield sign looks like, don't you? You ever seen one? The yield sign looks like a big Y. That's also the way you should look when it comes to Jesus Christ. You should be yielded to Him. Hands up, yielded to Him. And that's what the right they are. They're yielded to Christ. If any of your family members or friends don't pass the yield, if they're not yielded, they're the wrong they and you shouldn't be around them. They're the wrong they and you shouldn't be around them. It's awesome to have people who say yes without hesitation, or they don't need an explanation for what you're saying when we ask for it. It's refreshing. We need to surround ourselves with yes men and yes women, but they don't just say yes to us, they say yes to God. I think the most important aspect of the right they is the yielded. If they're not yielded to God, they don't need to be your friend. They don't need to be mulling around in your life if they're not yielded to God. It's the foundation that builds every other shade, the yield. If they're yielded, then you can work through things. Look at the word they. The middle two letters in the word they is what?
He.
He. So you got the right they, they're going to be focused on he, on him, Jesus. The right they have God in the center of their lives. They have said yes to the Lord, and they have yielded to him. They've yielded what they want to do to what he wants them to do. They're yielded to him in every area of their lives. God is God, and we're not. I don't know if y'all noticed that or not. So we yield to him. Think about a yield sign on the road. Arms raised to God. They are yielded to him. If you don't him, H-I-M, a garment, it'll unravel. If you don't have him in your life, you're going to unravel. You're going to unravel. Yield to him. Just like a garment needs a hem, H-E-M, you need a him, God, that keeps you from unraveling. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not unto your own understanding, and all your ways submit, that's another word for yield, to him, and he will make your paths straight. Yield. That's the end of lesson 2. That's where we're going to conclude tonight. Hope to see y'all again next time.